going on, YouTube? We are back with episode 2 of the review of the Hilton La Romana family all-inclusive resort in the Dominican Republic. So if you did not watch episode 1, go watch it. I'll link to it and I'll have a little pop-up. And that covers the resort layout, the amenities, and the room quality. So we'll get through that in the first one. Go check that out. If you are at the second one, you are wondering, how's the food, how's the service, and how are the drinks and drink options, things like that. So that's what we're going to cover in this episode. In episode 3, which will be coming up next, we will cover everything that deals with water, pools, beaches, and the on-site water park as well. So make sure you check out all 3 of those so you can get the full span. The reason I do it in multiple episodes is because I have lots of things to cover in each of those categories. All right, so restaurants and services in episode 2. There weren't any reservations required at this resort, which was very different from when we were in Cancun. So that was, I guess, fine. We didn't really run into any major problems without the reservations. I definitely don't think the resort was at full capacity, whether that was, the COVID related or whether that was just the time of year. I'm not really sure. Just realized that they actually stated on the website that the reservations are not required. Most of the restaurants open up at 6. Some open up at 6:30 p.m. So you can kind of make sure you check that out. And if you want to get there early, if you're a larger party, you'd probably get there around opening. We had a party of 11, so we were trying to get there right when things open, because without reservations, you kind of never know what you're walking into. And we didn't ever really wait more than like 10 minutes to get a table. So alcohol. Let's cover it first, because that's probably why most people are wondering. I'm more of a beer person, and if you're also a beer person, you're probably going to be a little bit disappointed. At all of the restaurants and things like that, really all I saw was Presidente beer on draft. So they gave you a plastic mug, and they gave you the beer, and it was Presidente on tap. So it was fine. It was a fine beer. It's more of a lighter beer. It's a local beer, so that's cool too. And then in the room, it was Coors Light. That's all at least I got offered or was in my fridge. So even when the first day when I got there, which I talk about this in the first video, there was no beer in my fridge, which was quite annoying. I actually called the room service, and then the guy brought up, and he had a case of Coors Light, and I was like, ugh. So I'm not a light beer person. I like more of a lager or dark or something. And Presidente's light, Coors Light's obviously light. So if you're a beer person, this may not be the place for you. So just a heads up there. For all kinds of liquor choices, more of a higher shelf, more of a medium shelf, some lower. They had stuff all over. They had pre-made stuff. They had, the mojitos were amazing. They had all kinds of daiquiris, you name it. They had everything on the liquor end of things. And we had kids in our party. They were getting non-alcoholic drinks all day long. So no issue there with making virgins anything. They were doing that, and not a problem. There was no gripe about that. So realize from the liquor perspective, you're gonna be super happy. From the beer perspective, probably not so much. Okay, restaurants. Couple of things that were weird and annoying. Salt. There wasn't salt usually on the tables. You had to ask for it, and sometimes I had to ask multiple times to get salt packets. Now, whether that was they forgot that I asked or whether they didn't want to give it to me, I don't really know, but even some of the times I had to get up and go to the wait station and just grab these packets of salt. So that was a little annoying. I get it, salt's not the greatest thing for you, but on my omelet in the morning, I would just like to add a little bit of salt. So that was, it's not not a killer, but it's dumb to me. Just, have it available. Let's talk about the food and drink service overall, since we just got done with the salt piece. Everything was slow compared to Cancun. So I think part of my problem with this whole experience is we went to Cancun in July, and then we went to the Dominican Republic in October, and they were 2 very different scenarios when it comes to service. Expect to have, now we were a party of 11, so that's a big deal, right? So I'm sure it's the first thing I'm going to hear. So if you are a larger party, expect to be at dinner for at least 2 hours. So if you're going at 6 right when it opens, you're going to be there till 8 or 8:30 until you get through. That was standard through the entire week for us. So be aware, larger parties, you will be there for a long time. Drinks, keeping up with drinks was really, really slow, even at dinners. When you went and got drinks at the bar, it was pretty efficient. There wasn't really, like, during the day stuff, either by the pool or the beach bar or the like grill huts they had to get burgers or nachos, anything like that. That service was actually pretty good, pretty quick. Wasn't an issue. But like the restaurant situation, the breakfast situation, we didn't really do a whole lot of lunch because I really can't speak about it. We either go into the bakery, like the two lobby, whether it be the bakery cafe or the bar in there, because they're not really packed and the capacity wasn't all that huge. They were pretty decent. I didn't really have a problem with those. Really, the dinners and the breakfast, the sit downs, the service just to me wasn't as good as it was in Cancun. So. So the first one is Ausangate, I think it is, and it's open from 6 till 10. It's a South American cuisine. It's right outside the Spice Market of the main. So the Spice Market's the main buffet. That's where we went and ate breakfast every morning. So it's right next to that. So when you're walking in, which I'll have all B-roll running through this entire thing, so you can kind of see. I didn't get over there, but it is South American cuisine. So realize that you can check that out. We'll go roll right into the Spice Market. So Spice Market's open from 6:30 a.m. till 10 o'clock p.m. So they have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So it's buffet style, it's classic and themed nights as well. The dress code's casual, just no sleeveless and cover-ups at least. And then we had breakfast there pretty much every morning. The breakfast was decent. I had anything from omelets to regular eggs to the regular breakfast meats to the French toast was really good. The French toast was probably one of the best things I had there. It was excellent. Big pieces of toast and all that good stuff. But no real major qualms there. Sometimes the service at the table was a little slow with getting waters or orange juices or silverware or whatever, kind of some of the things we talked about before. But we didn't eat dinner there. Some people in our party did, and they said it was pretty basic. It wasn't anything above, maybe it was like a 4 or 5 out of 10, but we did not have dinner there nor lunch. But the breakfast, I would say, would be like a 6 or 7. So nothing amazing, nothing crazy, but they had all kinds of things to choose from. Moustache is that is open from 6 to 10 as well. And this is their gourmet French. They call it a la carte. This was actually one of the better restaurants we went to. We actually ate there twice because it was so good. The dress code also is casual. We got there right at 6, and then we also did there's like an outdoor little deck area outside the main restaurant row. And we had dinner there the one night outside, and you could actually order from either of the two restaurants, and we'll get to the other one, the Italian one. But that was kind of cool. So I actually had the same meal from them twice because it was so good, and I had the same appetizer from them twice because it was so good. So Moustache, French. I was actually a little nervous about it because I don't eat a lot of French food. But they had a nice variety of things to choose from, and the food was actually really good. So that covers that. Azzurri. Azzurri is the Italian restaurant I just spoke of. This was the first dinner I think we went to. It's 6 to 10 as well. Casual dress code, and the service here was super slow. Super duper duper slow. This is the one where we spent a party of 11. We were there for 2.5 hours. And the drink service was slow, the appetizers were slow, the food, the dessert, everything was just really, really slow. I don't know if they just had a bad night, but that experience, we didn't go back there. And the food was not great. I had the lasagna. It tasted like frozen Stouffer's lasagna. My wife had the gnocchi. It was gross. It tasted like plastic cheese. So some of the meals were average, and some of the meals were actually below average. So it could have just been us. Like I said, this is totally opinionated on what I think is good or not good, but out of 11 of us, there wasn't too many that were very happy with this experience. Lasagna, I think, was the best dish, so I made a right choice. Woo! But like I said, it didn't taste like something that blew me away. It tasted like it was frozen and then cooked, and then it was what it was. So it wasn't really, really that great. Next one is the Grill. So this is kind of like their outside oceanfront restaurant. It's at the very end of the restaurant row. This is open from 12 noon to 10. The dress code is casual. It's oceanside, outside eating, like I talked about. So it is open for breakfast, but it's only Premier members only. So I actually walked over to the one breakfast because I was like, hey, I'll sit by the water while I'm eating my eggs. And they were like, no, you're not Premier. So just realize that you can't go to the Grill for breakfast because it's only Premier members. I did go to dinner there. I had the seafood skewers with veggies. It was decent. I would say it was like a 7 out of 10. And then I had the cheesecake with strawberry sauce for dessert. It was also okay, maybe 6 or 7 out of 10. So none of the meals at the Grill blew me away. I actually only had one. But the atmosphere was awesome. The views were amazing. They had like a deck that went out that had tables right along that, and then another row, and then they had like a tables underneath, like the awning area. So really, you're going there for the views, the sunset, especially if you get there right around 6. It depends on the time of year, obviously, but when we were there in October, it was nice. It was cool. Overall, like that was a good experience, but a lot of that had to do with kind of the air, the atmosphere, and where we were sitting and the views that you had. So it was neat. The service here was quick, but it was also pretty empty when I was there. So I think that had something to do with it. But they were right on top of things. My drinks stayed quick. They always asked me if I needed anything else. So that was a pretty pleasant experience as well. The Pizzeria. So the Pizzeria is by the pool. It's like a little kind of like a tiki hut, like a thatched roof. It's open from 12 to 6. It's poolside pizza. It's a great snack option because it's right next to the main pool on the family side. The pizzas, they're not giant New York slices, but they're smaller slices, but you can go back and get as much as you want. They had some crazy toppings like corn, but they had normal ones like pepperoni or bacon or whatever. So it was great, especially for kids if you just need to run over there and grab them something. It was average tasting, but once again, it's a good option, especially in the middle of the day. On the road, this is one for the road, which is interesting. It's open from 10 till midnight, and it's the lobby bar, and it's quick service. It has TVs. You can kind of sit in the night. They have really nice furniture in the open air lobby at this resort, and you can kind of hang out there. The one night, I was drinking beers watching the soccer or football games from the Champions League, so I was hanging out there, and the service is really quick because there's you can't sit at the bar. I don't know if that was COVID related or they just don't do that, but you get your service and you can sit and lounge at the lobby furniture while you're watching the TV. So that was neat. It was never really packed while I was there, but really nice option to kind of beat some crowds if you're at the pool or the beach to get a drink. Las Palmas Swim-Up Bar. So we kind of talked about this a little bit. That's open from 10 to 7. It's located at the main pool. You couldn't order drinks from the poolside, like I stated, and you had to get out of the pool and go on the upper deck side. So once again, masks were super. So that's the interesting part. Like if you're in the pool and you're like, hey, I want a drink, like you either jump out and get a mask from them, or you walk back to your towel, get your mask, and walk over to the top side to get service. So they will hand you a mask if you don't have one, and a lot of people don't, obviously, coming out of the pool. So just a heads up there. Coral Reef. It's open from 10 to 6, and this is the Barefoot Beach Bar. This was cool. It's kind of right in between the adult side and the family side from the beach perspective, and actually it's close to the adult side main pools. But it's a good location. It's right next to the bathrooms as well for if you're on the beach. And the service was pretty quick. Sometimes the line got 5, 6, 7 people deep, but they had usually 3 bartenders working that, especially during the peak hours during the middle of the day. And they also had people that would walk around out of the beach and ask you. You could take orders while staying at the chairs. The pool also had that, but it was actually pretty rare. So I don't know if they were understaffed or not. From this entire experience, since I didn't really like the whole restaurant service experience overall, it might have been that they were short-staffed with what's going on in the world that could possibly be. So I don't want to hammer down too much. But the pool did have service where they would walk around, but it was nothing like in Cancun. Cancun, they had so many people walking around asking if you need anything. Where here, there's maybe 1 or maybe 2 if you were lucky on the day. The beach, it seemed to be a little bit more consistent with the barefoot. Where the heck am I? Oh my gosh, the Coral Reef, sorry. They had their servers were in and out of the beach area way more, so that was nice. On the rocks, This is the Caribbean Sea View Bar. So this is right next to the grill. And it's just kind of like the corner. There's a corner bar, and then it has like a bunch of cool lights and everything. So, the grill sits right here, and the On the Rock sits right inside, right next to the Azzurri restaurant. So it's towards the end of the pier, little restaurant row, and you can get drinks there as well. The pool bar premium section bar. Obviously, I didn't get to go there. I'm not even sure exactly where it was because I'm not a premium member. But they say that's open 9 to 6 it's actually open an hour before the normal bars for us normal people. Shake It, that's a dance club and bar. I did not go there, so I don't know what that looks like. They say there is a club lounge for the premium members as well. Didn't go there. Tres Hermanas, this is the coffee bar, this is the cafe and coffee bar that's in the lobby. It was great for like sweets and snacks. They had cupcakes, they had cannolis, they had cookies, they had all kinds of coffee drinks, they had regular stuff like waters and sodas as well you can get there. But this place was really great if like you're just looking for something sweet and you wanted to jump over there. So like in the middle of the day, I may be hankering for a chocolate chip cookie and I'm running over there to grab one quick. And it usually wasn't really packed. Obviously it's busier in the morning when people are getting their coffee. My wife was always getting the frozen vanilla coffees. And she said they were pretty good. I'm not a coffee drinker. All right, room service. Was not impressed at all with the room service. Actually, we had to get it a couple nights because we had to stay in, and it was not great. The menu's really not expansive, and the food is even less expansive. I would not waste your time with the room service. The other thing with the room service, too, is it's not all-inclusive. So you don't pay for the food, but you pay a $5 delivery charge, which I thought was ridiculous. It's an all-inclusive. You're paying good money to be there. It's a Hilton, and you have to pay a $5 Uber Eats. Like, I think it's stupid, it's petty, and I didn't agree with it all. Because most of the time you're tipping the people anyway who are coming. And to pay $5 for the overall meal when it really isn't great. So the restaurants are basic or slightly above average. The room service is definitely below average, and the food is really it's very bland, doesn't have a lot of taste. So I would not even waste your time with the room service. We got breakfast and dinner, and neither really were that great. And like I said, the menu just it's lacking. There are romantic dinners. You can kind of see like these little tables of two with these hearts and lights at night. They are extra cost. There's different romantic spots all over the resort. And then if it rains, they take you into other places to cover that. So that is all the restaurants on the resort. Couple things I want to say to kind of close this episode out. I mentioned in my Cancun review, like if you tipped them, it was like you were like superhuman then. Like the service was, well and above. They really took care of you. They felt like they wanted to be of service, like they were very helpful. Here, it felt like tips were expected, and a large tip was expected. Like we had a couple instances with members of our party that would, give an amount and then expect change back, and those people started walking away, and you actually had to say, hey, I wanted this much back. So very much expected, where in Cancun didn't feel expected at all. Once again, I felt like I was bothering people asking for things and not above and beyond things, very basic things that I shouldn't have felt that way, but I did. So I don't know if it was understaffed. I don't know if that was normal, because I read a ton of TripAdvisor reviews that said that people had great experiences, that they loved the restaurants. To me, personal opinion, the food was very, very basic. We did get over to one restaurant on the adult side. I thought I read that down. Maybe I didn't. It was it's the open air kind of ocean one. It starts with an M, and I can't think of it right now. Anyway, we went over there because it was just my wife and I. We didn't have to worry about any kids. That restaurant was excellent. So I don't know if all the adult restaurants are kind of a scale above the family side, but that was certainly probably the best restaurant we had was on the adult side, and then the French restaurant on the family side was second. So the adult side, if you are going and it's just you and you are going to the adult side, the restaurants could be better than kind of a basic or a little above average, because it was pretty good. I would put that restaurant more of an 8 out of 10 versus a 6 or 7 at most of the family side. So heads up there. Service, really wasn't impressed. I was really kind of upset by the end of the week with some of the stuff we had to deal with. And I talked a little bit about that in the resort and the room quality with missing basic things with the maid service. Some of that spilled over to the restaurants and certain restaurants and the room service. So realize that when there's smoke, there's fire. I think it's not just one or the other. There's a little bit of a trend there where it wasn't the greatest from a service perspective and the food. And if you're a beer drinker, it's definitely not the place for you from what I experienced and the things I was offered. So we'll leave it there. Remember, episode 3 will be coming up. It is all things water, pools, beaches, and water park. And then if you missed episode 1, it is resort, layout, amenities, and the actual room and room quality. So make sure you check out that one as well. So we will catch you on episode 3. Thanks.